election you're having. If Obi does not win, forget Nigeria. Don't take it lightly. You are fighting for your freedom. It's not an ordinary election you're having. If Obi does not win, forget Nigeria. Don't take it lightly. You are fighting for your freedom. It's not an ordinary election you're having. If Obi does not win, forget Nigeria. Don't take it lightly. You are fighting for your freedom. It's not an ordinary election you're having. If Obi does not win, forget Nigeria. Don't take it lightly. You are fighting for your freedom. It's not an ordinary election you're having. If Obi does not win, forget Nigeria. Don't take it lightly. You are fighting for your freedom. It's not an ordinary election you're having. If Obi does not win, forget Nigeria. Don't take it lightly. You are fighting for your freedom. It's not an ordinary election you're having. If Obi does not win, forget Nigeria.
Of you collect money to go and vote. I hear people say, "Now money I go chop." The money you ate before is only for 1 week. If it go last you one day, one what? What are the rest of the 4 years? Never sell your conscience for money. Nigerians hear me. Now, who give me money I go vote? After you eat that, they want to eat again. It's time not to sell your conscience. Don't vote party. Vote who can deliver. And let Nigerians stand up for the first time and react against whoever wants to oppress you. Look, the revolution from mass is the worst revolution. When they stood up against Saddam Hussein, you could not stand it. When they stood up against Tunisian government, you could not stand it. No, nobody can stand. If the masses say no, Babangida as a military governor, president could not stand. When students came out and said no, you must step aside. Are you hearing now? This time, vote who can deliver. Anybody who can what? I'm not a politician, I will never be one. But if you vote because they give you money, hey, it goes somehow. That's those who do that. Don't mean you. Those who take money. Who take what? Money. Judiciary has messed the system up. Please, some decent ones are still in the judiciary. For the first time, stand for the truth. Look, the day you die, they will make sure judge your life and put this judge. Can't a judge look say, what would they remember me for? All this is you're doing. People clap for you now, they're in government. When they leave, they say, you see, this job is so corrupt. Do you like that kind of testimony? They say that judge does not do that nonsense. That's the kind of testimony judge you have. Now, you are collecting money. Don't think that people don't know that you're collecting money. Maybe Nigeria will soon mention your name. Government is there for power forever. So even judges, straight. You citizen, is straight. Pastors, including pastors, because some of us are praying for the wrong people. We know this man cannot deliver, you still pray for him. Don't pray for a man who cannot deliver. Pray for somebody who has conscience. Who has what? If you like it. Try not to sell your conscience. Listen, let me say this. If any of you collect money to go and vote, I hear people say, "Now money I go chop." The money you ate before is only for 1 week. If it go last you one day, one what? What are the rest of the 4 years? Never sell your conscience for money. Nigerians hear me. Now, who give me money I go vote? After you eat that, they want to eat again. It's time not to sell your conscience. Don't vote party. Vote who can deliver. And let Nigerians stand up for the first time and react against whoever wants to oppress you. Look, the revolution from mass is the worst revolution. When they stood up against Saddam Hussein, you could not stand it. When they stood up against Tunisian government, you could not stand it. They stood up against Babangida and asked, we are young. Powerful Babangida could not stand it. When masses say no, nobody can stand. If the masses say no, Babangida as a military governor, president could not stand. When students came out and said no, you must step aside. Are you hearing now? This time, vote who can deliver. Anybody who can what? I'm not a politician, I will never be one. But if you vote because they give you money, hey, it goes somehow. That's those who do that. I don't mean you. Those who take money. Who take what? Money. Judiciary has that this judge. Can't a judge look, say, what would they remember me for? All this is you're doing. People clap for you now, they're government. When they leave, they say, you see, this job is so corrupt. Do you like that kind of testimony? They say that judge does not do that nonsense. That's the kind of testimony judge you have. Now, you're collecting money. Don't think that people don't know that you're collecting money. No, Nigeria, they receive national money. Government is there for power forever. So even judges, slate. You citizen, is slate. Pastors, including pastors, because some of us are praying for the wrong people. We know this man cannot deliver, you still pray for him. Don't pray for a man who cannot deliver. Pray for somebody who has conscience. Who has what? If you like it.
I don't know your name, whether I make whether I make wait, you know, whether I pay me. I don't know your name, you know, concern me. 2027, we need free and fair election. You service corps when they say no go they tell us, say carry that is not working. You go collect. Just write your will keep. You understand? But just write your will keep. You collection officer, you returning officer, won't go do anyhow. Your mind go day. Don't write in a will 2027 keep. Because of now, after the election, now the last day to see this life. Because the masses are very angry. You understand? But so 2027, we did a joke. You and you don't give it back or right, city boy movement, you don't give it back or right 5 times to conquer ballot box. Just write your will keep. 2027, we need to come to joke. We are coming for free and fair election. You know what free and fair election? Your mind go day. Go ask the main mount. The mass is mount for you. Ask what happened to Kubana Tea prison. After I spent all the money we're in there today, it's still fair. It's not about. Give me say go direct to NHM. I don't know your name. Whether I make whether I make wait, you know, whether I pay me. I don't know your name. You know, concern me. 2027, we need free and fair election. You service corps when they say no go they tell us, say carry that is not working. You go collect. Just write your will keep. You understand? But just write your will keep. You collection officer, you returning officer, won't go do anyhow. Your mind go day. Don't write in a will 2027 keep. Because of now, after the election, now the last day to see this life. Because the masses are very angry. You understand? But so 2027, we did a joke. You and you don't give it back or right, city boy movement, you don't give it back or right 5 times to conquer ballot box. Just write your will keep. 2027, we need to come to joke. We are coming for free and fair election. You know what free and fair election? Your mind go day. Go ask the main mount. The mass is mount for you. Ask what happened to Kubana Tea prison. After I spent all the money we're in there today, it's still fair. It's not about.
Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Come and rescue us! Donald Trump! We need you! In the air time come! Gbọ́dọ̀ sí mọ́! Gbogbo mọ́! Ìyá ti kó jẹ́! Bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ̀bọ̀ dànù ni! Tinubu ti ṣẹ̀wọ́! Ṣèyí Mákindé ti kówó jẹ! Àwọn bọ́ọ̀sì padà lẹ́yìn rẹ̀ omi ló máa gbé ẹ lọ. Àwọn ọ̀dọ́ ti sọ jí orí wọn ti pé Donald Trump! Come and rescue us! Donald Trump! We need you! In the air time come! Gbọ́dọ̀ sí mọ́! Gbogbo mọ́! Ìyá ti kó jẹ́! Bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ̀bọ̀ dànù ni! Tinubu ti ṣẹ̀wọ́! Ṣèyí Mákindé ti kówó jẹ! Àwọn bọ́ọ̀sì padà lẹ́yìn rẹ̀ omi ló máa gbé ẹ lọ.
You come late. Aisha finally fires back.
What it took to go to every local government, then he shouldn't have put out a statement to the world that he was going to do that. If we do something, we must stand by our word. It is official, it is outside, it is on our official channels. Yes. And so therefore, Aisha we not provide venue for anybody. And we support provide you. The venue. You said level play. I'm not even asking for a level playing ground. I'm asking for the ground. I was told repeatedly that I came in late into this party. Who does that? I've enjoyed a lot in the last how many days? My name has been dragged all over. At the end of all of that, allow to speak.
Allow to speak. Allow to speak now. Allow to speak. Allow to speak. Allow to speak. Allow to speak. What's it become one? Make her allow to speak. Allow her to speak.
And this party is it's not about who wins. But follow a process that is transparent, so that when you see somebody who wins, you look at it and say, you the balance of the person. Right. I said, I'm ready if I lost and I lost honorable fairly. I'm ready to go. You can say I lost. What did you do? I have a presidential candidate that I'm there for. I haven't said anything. You know how you took. I haven't said anything. With all the way my name has been dragged, I kept quiet. People have been calling me and said, no, don't react. You know why? I have a bigger goal. I have a presidential candidate. I have a principal. We need to take over.
Imagine say you join a political party because you believe in their vision, only for people to tell you say you come too late. Not because you lose the election, not because voters reject you, not because you fail to meet requirements, but because some people believe say you're not supposed to even take that position in the first place. Now imagine say the person where they make that allegation, not the ordinary politician, now Aisha Yesufu, and the controversy where don't follow her latest statement fit expose one of the biggest questions facing Nigerian politics today. Who really get a chance to compete? And who decides when somebody don't come late? Welcome back to Synod Media. This story starts with one statement where it don't scatter political conversations across social media. Aisha Yesufu talk, I am not asking for a level playing field. I'm asking for a ground. I was told repeatedly that I came late into the NDC. Simple words, but the message inside everywhere were. Because if you listen carefully, Aisha not dey complain about losing. At least that not be the main thing. Instead, she dey suggest say the challenge start before any real contest even happen. And at that part, they make people talk. Because according to her, she not dey ask for favor. She not dey ask make rules bend. She not dey ask make anybody hand over victory. She say wetin she dey ask for na ordinary grant, ordinary opportunity, ordinary chance to stand and participate. And once that statement enter public space, Nigerians begin ask serious questions. Who told her she came late? Why would joining a party later become a problem? And if that really happened, what did they talk about internal democracy? But before we answer those questions, make we understand why this matter carry weight. Aisha Yesufu not be new name for Nigerian politics and activism. For years, she don't build reputation as somebody wey not dey fear anybody. Whether na government officials, political leaders, or powerful institutions, she don't always speak her mind. Many Nigerians know her as somebody wey value participation and accountability. So when somebody like Aisha come out publicly to express frustration, people naturally they pay attention. And that na exactly wetin happen. Now, here come the twist. Not everybody go see this matter from the same angle. Because some people argue say political parties they operate on loyalty and commitment. Their position simple. If members don't spend years building structures, attending meetings and making sacrifices, those members deserve recognition. To them, somebody who recently joined no fit expect to immediately jump ahead of people who don't dey there for years. And honestly, that argument gets supporters. But another group see things differently. Them ask, if new members not get room to grow, how parties want to attract fresh voices? How parties want to attract professionals? How parties want to attract activists? How parties want to attract influential Nigerians where fit strengthen the movement? Because every major political party eventually depend on expansion. And expansion.
Well, I think on this Aisha Yesufu matter, there is a need for the party to actually look inward. But greetings to everyone. Thank you for joining and listening to the voice today. Aisha Yesufu, well, I think she has a ground to have said all that she said. Because one thing is, if NDC must make waves and succeed, they need vibrant voices like Aisha Yesufu to actually help the party. Aisha Yesufu, Peter Aka, that's Peter for Nigeria. You need strong voices like this, vibrant lady that can actually speak truth to power and then call out the system, because all that we have today now, I mean, just heard today that one of the babies that was taken by the kidnappers died in the kidnappers' den today. And so many things just crossed my mind, and honestly, don't even know what to say because it's so pathetic. Imagine if that small girl is going to be the president of the country, and in her own time, and maybe she's the one that's going to liberate the nation, then we've lost a president. We've lost maybe a doctor, a lawyer, or a judge because of the wickedness of leaders. And I just hope that Nigerians can actually stand up and do the needful for their country, because these guys are not doing anything to rescue the nation. People are being killed, lives are being taken down, properties being destroyed, careers being damaged. It's so sad. And so NDC should have probably thought well to allow someone like Aisha Yusufu to actually flag NDC flag in Abuja. Because, for example, for example, need a strong person to actually challenge him. You need a force to challenge Wike in Abuja. Without a force, you cannot challenge Wike in Abuja. So you need a force to challenge Wike in Abuja. And so if NDC now removes Aisha Yusufu and then said because this person is being with the party from get-go, well, you're basically saying that newcomers don't have a ground. They have to go through several processes. They have to go through rigorous processes. And remember, Aisha Yusufu by herself is a voice. I mean, she's been in front of the struggle. She stood out when girls were kidnapped in, I think in Borno. And so she's been doing this. She was out there during the NSAS too. And so she's a voice. She has rallied around. She has been able to rally the Nigerian youths. And she has a wonderful people supporting her. So I think that just saying that this person that has been in NDC, because she's been in NDC from beginning, she deserved to flag the flag in Abuja. I think that's wrong, because if you think about it, Wike needs a strong and viable opposition in Abuja. Wike needs somebody that can counter him in Abuja. And so if what NDC would have done is allow Aisha Yusufu to run in Abuja, keep her on the ballot, because Wike is afraid of Aisha Yusufu, if Marcela has said the truth. As a matter of fact, the Nigerian system is afraid of someone like Aisha Yusufu. And you can also leverage on her religion. I mean, you can leverage on her beliefs. You can leverage on her personality. She's a female, and you need female voices in the party. So I think what NDC did was not okay for Aisha Yusufu. I mean, she's a staunch follower of Mr. Peter Gregory. She has been on the movement for a very long time. She's with Obi Ezekwesili. She's a youth. I mean, she's a lady. I think NDC would have just allowed Aisha Yusufu to flag the ban in Abuja, rather than allow the other lady. She's a female too. I mean, she has her rights too. But we are saying that to honestly chase these guys out of power, these criminals, we need strong voices. People like Peter for Nigeria, Aisha Yusufu. You have you have a bunch of them that are out there that can actually do a better job for NDC, rather than allow these old career politicians to say that they have a structure and it's the same structure of criminality. If Mr. Peter Gregory won the last election without any structure, I think Aisha Yusufu also can win the Abuja municipal, can win the Abuja senatorial seat without any structure, because I mean, she's been going everywhere. I saw video where she has been everywhere. She's been going from one place to the other just to go talk to the people in Abuja. So for me, If NDC eventually keep the old lady, keep the other lady on the ballot, they have lost Abuja. Forget it. There is no way they can win Abuja. Wike need somebody that will be able to take him for a run for his money. Wike needs somebody that can challenge him. And so, with what NDC have done, removing Aisha Yusufu and say that there's a consensus candidacy and the party is supreme. And just to also say this, when you say consensus and then party is supreme, well, party is supreme on what ground? Because that's a way also that they carry out this the evil against the people. When you're saying the party is supreme and people that are just coming they have to obey the rules and all that. That's just like doing what other parties are doing. So I think for me they should have just allowed Aisha Yusufu to flag to continue the fight in Abuja. They would have just allowed Aisha Yusufu to be the one that will contest against either APC or PDP or whoever
new people
in
must
Abuja.
enter.
So
New
they
ideas
would have
must
allowed
enter.
Aisha Yusufu.
New
They would
energy
have
must
just
enter.
allowed her to
So where
to carry
exactly
on.
the balance will
So
be?
I mean,
That are the question.
it's up
Whether
to them
controversy
to
don't
continue to
throw
do what they
into
are doing,
public
but
discussion.
don't do
But
what
wait,
APC and
the
PDP
story
are
fit
doing.
actually
Instead,
dey bigger than Aisha herself.
you will lose it.
Because as 2027 gradually dey approach, political parties dey under pressure, coalitions dey form, alliances dey emerge, negotiations dey happen quietly behind the scenes, and every opposition movement dey try convince Nigerians say dem different from the old political system. That one mean say stories like this carry extra weight because voters now dey only listen to campaign promises, dem dey watch behavior, dem dey
I think it's so profound. Voters don't just listen to campaign promises; they look at the behavior, they look at the personalities. I mean, okay, now tell me, what will Tinubu take to Oyo State for campaign? Is it the insecurity? Is it the height of economic hardship on the people? People are living from hand to mouth. People are suffering in Nigeria. I mean, people that are basically making that just people that may have people in diaspora. And even those that are in the diaspora, they also have their own bills to pay. And so the system is not working. People are suffering. You see, parents are just going through pain. And so if NDC must do well, they should allow people that can take Wike for his money. Don't just bring in old people and say, oh, they've been on the party for a very long time. They've been there for... No, you cannot do that. You just need to bring in viable people. You need to bring in viable candidates that can take people, that can give them a run for their money.
watch how parties dey treat members, dem dey watch how disagreements are handled, dem dey watch whether parties dey practice the same democracy when dem promise Nigerians. And that na why this issue refuse to disappear. The debate no longer be only about one ticket. The debate don become about access. The debate don become about inclusion. The debate don become about whether fresh entrants truly get opportunities. Now make we look at Aisha's exact wording again. She say, I'm not asking for a level playing field. I'm asking for a ground. That statement powerful because it changed the conversation. Normally, when politicians complain, them talk about fairness during competition. But Aisha argument different. She appeared to dey say the issue start before competition itself. And na that distinction dey make many people stop and think. Because if somebody believe the problem start before the race even begin, then the discussion becomes much deeper. It dey move from who won to whether everybody was allowed to compete. And that na one of the reasons this story don resonate with many Nigerians. Because whether na politics, business, or everyday life, people naturally dey react when they hear arguments about opportunity. Now, nobody fit ignore another reality. Political parties also face difficult decisions. They must reward loyalty. They must manage expectations. They must balance old members with new members. And sometimes those goals dey clash. The challenge now na how to maintain that balance without creating feelings of exclusion. Because once members begin feel sidelined, controversies naturally go follow. And once controversies become public, perception go begin shape reality. That's not political reality. For now, Aisha Yesufu don't make her position clear. She believes say they tell her repeatedly say she come late. Her critics fit disagree. Party insiders go get their own explanation. But one thing nobody fit deny. Her statement don't start a conversation where it go far beyond one individual. A conversation about fairness, a conversation about access, and a conversation about who really get a seat at the table in Nigerian politics. As 2027 they draw closer, expect more battles like this. Expect more aspirants. Expect more disagreements. And expect more questions about internal democracy. Because if today's controversy day about being told you came late, tomorrow's fight may be about who control the door altogether. And that one will become one of the biggest political stories to watch in the journey toward 2027.
A nation rarely collapses in one day. It collapses quietly, slowly, institution by institution. First, the courts stop frightening the corrupt, then the lawmakers stop representing the people, then the police stop protecting citizens, then truth itself becomes controversial. And suddenly, the people are alone. In moments like this, history teaches us something important. When strong institutions are killed, only strong voices remain. Silence has destroyed more nations than war, because when good people become quiet, bad leadership becomes comfortable. Corruption grows best in silence. Oppression grows best in silence. Fear grows best in silence. That is why every struggling society eventually reaches a moment where ordinary people must decide, will we remain silent or will we speak? Nigeria is standing in that moment today. Long before social media hashtags, before live streams, before YouTube channels, there was Gani Fawehinmi, a man who understood that power fears fearless citizens. They arrested him, they intimidated him, they dragged him through courts. But every time they tried to silence him, his voice became louder. Gani taught Nigerians something powerful. A prison cell cannot imprison truth. And even today, every activist, every journalist, every outspoken citizen standing against injustice walks through a path he helped create. The battle for justice did not end with Gani. Voices still rise inside courtrooms. Mike Ozacombe continues to challenge power with law. Dele Ferrotimi reminds Nigerians that democracy without justice is only decoration. And every time citizens hear uncomfortable truths, power becomes nervous. Because corrupt systems survive on one thing: public fear. But once fear disappears, the entire structure begins to shake. When institutions weaken, journalism becomes more important than ever. Because sometimes the microphone becomes the final courtroom. Voices like Rufai Oseni continue asking difficult questions many fear to ask. Questions about accountability. Questions about leadership. Questions about why the ordinary Nigerian continues to suffer despite endless promises. And this is why independent voices matter. Because once journalism becomes afraid, propaganda takes over. And when propaganda replaces truth, citizens begin to lose their ability to recognize reality itself. Every generation also needs thinkers, people who can see danger before everyone else sees it. Madam Obi Ezekwesili has repeatedly warned Nigerians about failed governance, institutional decay, and the dangers of accepting mediocrity as normal. Pat Utomi continues sounding the alarm about economic collapse, leadership failure, and the erosion of democratic values. These voices do not always tell people what they want to hear, but societies survive because some people are willing to speak uncomfortable truths, because honesty is painful, but silence is deadly. Then came a political awakening. Millions of Nigerians, especially young people, began demanding something different. Peter Obi became more than a candidate to many supporters. He became a symbol of frustration, a symbol of hope, a symbol that millions were tired of watching Nigeria move backward, and suddenly politics no longer belonged only to political elites. Students became politically active. Young professionals found their voice. Citizens began debating governance in taxis, markets, offices, and online spaces. Whether people agreed or disagreed politically, one thing became clear. Nigerians were waking up. And then there are voices that become symbols of courage itself. Aisha Yusufu, standing before armed authority during protests, became an unforgettable image for many Nigerians. Calm, fearless, unmoved. In that moment, she represented something larger than politics. She represented resistance, because history remembers people who refuse to kneel before fear, and every generation needs reminders that courage is contagious. Today, the struggle is no longer only on the streets. It is online, on phones, on YouTube, on live streams, on podcasts. The digital age has changed power forever. A single viral video can expose corruption. A single interview can spark national debate. A single citizen with courage can reach millions. Voices like Justice Crack represent a new kind of resistance, direct, fearless, unapologetic commentary challenging systems many people are afraid to question. Because in the age of the internet, silence is becoming harder to enforce. Authoritarian systems fear only one thing: awakened citizens. Not weapons, not hashtags, not protests alone, but citizens who are no longer mentally controlled by fear. Because once people stop being afraid, they begin demanding accountability. They begin asking where the money went, why electricity is still unstable, why insecurity continues, why corruption survives every administration, why justice often feels selective, and powerful people fear questions they cannot answer. But speaking comes with a price. Sometimes they insult you, sometimes they threaten you. Sometimes they attempt to destroy reputations. Sometimes they weaponize institutions against outspoken citizens. And this is how fear spreads, not only through force, but through examples. They punish one person loudly, so millions of others remain quiet silently. But history also teaches us this. Every freedom people enjoy today exists because someone before them refused to stay silent. Institutions matter. Courts matter. Elections matter. Laws matter. But when those systems weaken, the people themselves become the final institution. Your voice becomes resistance. Your questions become accountability. Your refusal to accept failure as normal becomes patriotism. Democracy survives only when citizens refuse to surrender mentally. Nigeria is still alive because people still care enough to speak, journalists still asking questions, activists still marching, lawyers still fighting, young people still dreaming, citizens still believing this country can become better than what it is today. And maybe that hope, that stubborn refusal to give up, is the strongest institution Nigeria still has left. So do not underestimate your voice. Speak carefully. Speak responsibly. But never surrender your right to speak. Because silence has never built great nations. Courage has. Nigeria does not belong to fear. It does not belong to corruption. It does not belong to intimidation. Nigeria belongs to citizens brave enough to imagine something better. And when history remembers this generation, let it never be said that everybody stayed silent. Speak. Stand firm. Keep asking questions. Keep demanding better. Because when strong institutions are killed, stronger voices must rise.
If you found this helpful, please subscribe, like, and share.
Thank you very much, guys. Well, that's just to show that Nigerians must arise and continue to speak for their country, because the only way to get these things done is by continuous speaking. I mean, I still honestly cannot fathom what is going on with the level of insecurity that we see in the country today. How they can take 46 children. A teacher was beheaded. Mr. Michael was beheaded. Mr. Michael was beheaded for not just cause, for not just reason. His only crime is because he's a Nigerian. A mathematics teacher was taken down. And you just imagine what the family is going through. The pain, the suffering, the agony. I mean, with his picture and the way he looks, obviously he's the breadwinner of the family. But today, he's no more alive. That they bear the teacher. This is horrific. This is evil. And Nigerians must arise and continue to speak for their country. It's so sad. Well, thoughts and prayer for his families. Hopefully, we can have a better country. But we will not stop speaking. Let's continue to speak.
Tinubu is sitting in Abuja there. Instead of busy about taking care of husband in the kitchen, interfering in warrior affairs. Yeah, children are being kidnapped in Osun State. Children are kidnapped in northern Nigeria. As a mother, she has no feelings. Is that the woman who calls herself a mother? Is that what we call a mother? No. Is that what we call a mother? No. She take care of her responsibility by taking care of her husband and her children. She has no place in the office of the presidency. There's no constitutional provision for her. We are not missing words at this point. Our blood is not bleeding. We are tired of all this nonsense from the Nigerians. No matter who is it, we are prepared for it. Let the nation know that we are prepared. Thank you very much. God bless all of you. Thank you very much. The allowance for it, I should never can go far away from them. Very quickly, let's have Chief Roger. The first lady, Tinubu, is sitting in Abuja there. Instead of busy about taking care of husband in the kitchen, interfering in warrior affairs. Yeah, children are being kidnapped in Osun State. Children are kidnapped in northern Nigeria. As a mother, she has no feelings. Is that the woman who calls herself a mother? Is that what we call a mother? No. Is that what we call a mother? No. She take care of her responsibility by taking care of her husband and her children. She has no place in the office of the presidency. There's no constitutional provision for her. We are not missing words at this point. Our blood is not bleeding. We are tired of all this nonsense from the Nigerians. No matter who is it, we are prepared for it. Let the nation know that we are prepared. Thank you very much. God bless all of you. Thank you very much. The allowance for it, I should.
Panic among Nigerians who see the NDC as a genuine party on a rescue mission, even as the troubled PDP seems to be getting into another desperate phase with the sacking of Ajibade and Anyang as officers of the party by a court. And Wike has asked naysayers of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, in Edo State, Ehiozuwa Abonayiwa, has expressed regret over leaving the APC for the NDC, describing the move as from frying pan to hellfire. Speaking on a national TV program, he alleged that despite winning the party's senatorial primaries, he is now being unfairly blocked from appearing on the ballot days after the exercise was conducted. Well, he also accused the national leader of the NDC, that's Seriake Dickson, of encouraging him to contest the senatorial seat and purchase nomination forms, only to later deny ever doing so. He said the handling of the primary process was worse than anything he experienced in the APC or PDP, fueling internal tensions within the new party ahead of the 2027 elections. Peter, APC, the campaign, are joining the NDC en masse. What do you see coming?
Well, NDC is a new party, just registered not up to 4 months ago. So as a new, just like a new baby, it will then crawl and then walk. Understand? So you cannot compare NDC with the APC and PDP that have been there for more than a decade. Understand? So the issue is this: one, they have not it's a human organization, and you cannot expect perfection in a human organization. But NDC has set up an appeal committee where everybody who has a problem should appeal to. That's why they say that they will be announcing all their final winners on the 10th, so that they'll be able to look at all the petitions that we are sent to them.
Okay, so from your position now, what the guy is saying, is it excusable for the NDC? He said Seriake Dickson asked him to leave the APC and come to the NDC, encouraged him to contest, to go for the senatorial seat, and which he did. And according to him, he won. But days after that, his name is not in the ballot. And he's saying, well, this is the kind of thing that people used to hear about in the APC or PDP, but it's even worse now. So from your position, are you saying that it is normal for someone in the NDC, to be shortchanged at this level? Because the party is just coming up, just growing.
Talking about ballots, I say NDC have not announced the winners of their primary elections.
Okay, so apparently what the guy is saying is not correct.
I say he is jumping the gun. He is jumping the gun. So nobody is sure of who is on the ballot until the 10th of June, when they will now announce the winners. Right now, there's an appeal committee that is handling all the cases that we are sent to them. So I can't understand why he is now.
Maybe he has insider information.
Well,
should we rely on that to judge?
For me, he is being too fast because they have not announced their winners yet until 10th of June. If his name is not there, he can now say yes, so because.
Okay, now you said something in passing, which is that the NDC has also set up a reconciliation committee, which we are going to talk about.
An appeal
committee. And also there's a reconciliation committee, appeal and reconciliation committee. Sure. Which means they do admit, they acknowledge the fact that some people have not been fairly treated.
I say it is a human society.
It's a human society.
Well, why this person is making this plea and all that, I think for me, it just basically tells that these APC campaigns are probably just going everywhere because ordinarily they lost their seats in APC and now they are going everywhere just to go cause trouble. Well, that's why I don't submit or suggest to what is happening in NDC. Whoever is coming from APC, I don't sympathize with them. These guys are just looking for a way to destroy the whole system and cause trouble. And so NDC must be very, very careful because allowing APC guys to come and cause internal crisis may end up destroying the party. So Seriake Dickson should be careful with the people.
But somebody like Aisha Yusuf already has information that she's not the chosen one. So what will happen on the 10th? Is there a possibility that by the 10th of May, her name could appear on the ballot or on the list of NDC aspirants?
One, these are two different cases. In Abuja, NDC did not conduct primaries. What they used was a consensus.
Okay.
Understand? But in Edo, there was a primaries. And that's why this guy is saying that he won. Understand? That's, mind you, he was denied tickets in Edo senatorial district by the APC. Understand? So this is just a win.
So invariably, this man was denied a ticket in APC and he quickly ran to NDC. That means it will be like the previous people that used Mr. Peter Gregory Obi to get to the floor of the house. And once they got there, they decamped to APC. For me, I honestly, I don't sympathize with him. These are the kind of people that I don't even want in that party.
So for him, since APC denied you ticket, come to the NDC and see if you can get it. It's not automatic.
Now, we see a lot of people, moving to the NDC from the APC, from the ADC, from the PDP, from the Labour Party, across board, a lot of people moving to the NDC. Now, do you see any danger in this movement to the NDC?
One, they say too many hands spoil the soup.
Okay.
So, for me, all these people have their aims and objectives. Some are going, understand, that because for now, NDC appears to be the most peaceful in the sense that they don't have any case in court. Understand? There's no case in court by any NDC member. Understand? And I also know that some people are going with an evil intention. So that's why I suggest that there should be a thorough screening before admitting. We know that politics is a game of numbers. But you shouldn't take every.
Now, how do you profile people? How do you know who to admit and who not to admit?
When I heard that Apapa is joining NDC, you know his reputation.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so they should stop somebody like that.
100%. Understand? Because he cannot change in NDC.
Because why I ask this question? Because I've heard a lot of Nigerians say, hey, NDC, Seraki Dixon, Peter Obi, Rabi Okokwan. So we should be careful the people you admit into the NDC, because some of them might, as a matter of fact, be moles who are coming to cause
many of
problems
them
for you.
Many of
so
them
now the question is, how do you fish out these people? How do you know the ones that are moles?
By their reputation.
By their reputation.
By their reputation.
Of course, the people that are sending them will change tactics, and they take innocent people that don't have people that don't have spots, on them, and they'll say, okay, go there and do this work.
The issue is this: the only advantage that they have is that they're just a new party, so nobody can say, "Well, we are in the NWC, we are in so and so." You understand? So that is the only advantage that they have for now. That is the only advantage.
That's the only advantage they have for now. The other day, I spoke with Adewale Adebayo, the presidential candidate of the SDP, and he was like, well, the president is not stopping. He has not stopped. He's still making attempts to ensure that he is the only person on the ballot. Do you see the possibility of that happening at this moment, especially with the extension? We are going to talk about that in a bit, the extension of the INEC timeline, which INEC says, no, we are constitutionally authorized to fix the timeline. Do you see that happening, where there might be more problems in NDC? Because as a matter of fact, PDP is enmeshed in problems, Labour Party, ADC, and even SDP, PRP, as a matter of fact, all of these parties have problems except the NDC. Is there a possibility that the president could walk to being a sole candidate in 2027?
For me, I don't really see that happening. I don't really, because it will cause a very serious crisis in the country. Understand? He had done what he can do. Right now, there's protests everywhere in the country. The president has his hands full. Understand?
Okay.
So I don't see, unless using
agents,
understand me, and the courts, understand? Just like the case of ADC, the case of PDP, because right now PDP is having about 2 presidential candidates.
Yes, now PDP is having about 2 presidential candidates. Let's talk about that in a bit, because the Turaki-led faction of the PDP has welcomed a Wednesday judgment of the Court of Appeal, which invalidated the recognition of a PDP caretaker committee backed by Nyesom Wike. The appellate court ruled that the issues in dispute had become academic following an earlier decision of the Supreme Court, and held that the Federal High Court erred in recognizing the caretaker committee. It also affirmed the suspension of AK Ajibade and, by extension, Sam Anyanwu, stating that Ajibade lacked authority to act for the party. In a statement by the Interim National Working Committee spokesman, Ini Yememobam Essien, the PDP said the judgment clears the way for its Interim National Working Committee led by Kabiru Tani Muturaki, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, where the party urged the Independent National Electoral Commission to immediately withdraw recognition earlier granted to the Wike-backed caretaker committee, based on the Ibadan Federal High Court ruling, describing the appellate court's decision as a validation of its internal processes and a step towards restoring stability. Peter, PDP at the crossroads again. New judgment, new vista. Is there death knell near? Is it what it is?
Well, appeal court. Now we are now getting something higher, because before it had been cost of first instance. Ibadan, Abuja. Now we have gotten a superior judgment, which is coming from the Court of Appeal, and which is also a big punch on Nyesom Wike, because he has been carrying Sam Anyanwu as it was his intention to make Sam Anyanwu the next governor of Imo State, and that's the quarrel between him and
Hope
Uzodinma. So for me, it's a welcome development. Then INEC should do the necessary, because INEC refused the Ibadan Convention, where Turaki emerged. So I don't know how they are now going to package
to reconcile.
That's all this thing.
So apparently what it means is that they will go back to, this is more like a status quo antebellum. They will go back to. But if they go back to it, what it means is that
they have gone beyond the deadline.
They have gone beyond
the INEC deadline of May 10th.
Okay.
Which they are still
come to Perspectives, we'll take a deep dive into the issues of the day, and we'll take a look at people's opinion on such issues. I am Ruth Sime. Nigeria must now confront a question that goes to the heart of its sovereignty. Who truly holds power in the places where fear reigns, the government or the bandits? Kidnapping has become an industry, a parallel economy sustained by weak enforcement, organized criminal networks, and desperate families forced to negotiate for the lives of their loved ones. The scale of this crisis is staggering. The National Bureau of Statistics estimates that between May 2023 and April 2024 alone, Nigerians paid roughly 2.23 trillion in ransoms. Security research organization SBM Intelligence also reported that between July 2024 and June 2025, at least 4,722 people were kidnapped in 997 recorded incidents. During that period, kidnappers demanded about 48 billion and received an estimated 2.57 billion in ransom payments. Behind those numbers are shattered families, traumatized communities, disrupted businesses, and a nation gradually becoming accustomed to the unacceptable. The cruelty is no longer hidden. Bandits now publicize their atrocities, flogging abducted children with until welts cover their bodies, torturing captives, tying children to rocks, and even beheading a teacher, all captured and circulated for the world to see. They abduct, negotiate, collect ransom, and too often walk away without consequence. We have heard the assurances. We have seen the delegations. We have been told operations are ongoing. Yet, Nigerians are still counting losses, raising ransom money, burying victims, and walking up to headlines that read like yesterday's news. And the question becomes, how long before fear itself becomes the country's most reliable system of governance? We're heading for a short break, but stay with us because in a brief moment, we shall get to meet my guests on the show today. Christian Joe, who's yet to arrive, Chitan Wanze, and Peter Aka. Perspectives will return in just a moment. One of Nigeria's activists is of brutal shock therapy.
Watch the video of those kids that they kidnapped.
Continue to brutalize innocent children. I will now play you a clip, which is undoubtedly choreographed, but at the same time encapsulates the sorrow and anguish of all Nigerians.
Good day, everyone. I just watched the video of those kids that they kidnapped in Oyo. No food, no shelter, no anything no anything. I saw one sleeping under the tree, and I saw one of them. They took their leg and put it and tie it to their head and put stone at their back. I'm so fear. Nigerians, please let's pray for them. Please pray for them. They have no so they can meet their parents. Please let's pray for them. Thank you. Our girlfriend, please let my little voice count.
Do not get a consolidation loan until you see this. Hey, Mario Lopez here, and if you're thinking about
if that isn't harrowing to watch, I don't know what is. I mean, it just makes my heart bleed. But anyway, let me welcome my guests on the show tonight. So let's start with you, Cheta. Do you understand? Now, despite arrests and repeated security operations, kidnappings continue to escalate. From your research, what identifiable patterns have emerged in how kidnappers operate?
Thanks for having me. Good day. It's a very sad situation.
Tragic.
Extremely unfortunate. Now the kidnappers, basically they're expanding, and it's an economy in itself now. I would say that based on the numbers that we've seen. So, for example, last year we had roughly 2.5 billion naira paid out, and this is what we could track. The number one, I think it's important to point out that what was demanded was 48 billion naira in terms of ransoms. So saying that's just under 3 billion naira was paid out does not give the whole story, because there are many people who do not tell how much they paid. There are many people who do not even know how much they paid. They just gather and negotiate. So given those numbers, you would say, we could easily say that the kidnapping industry is probably the second highest employer of labor in the informal economy in Nigeria now. And that's a very scary prospect, because there's no kidnap in the kind of operations that happen now. There's nothing that can happen without a value chain participation of a lot of people. They have informants, they have lookouts, they have people who pick the money, they have a logistics chain behind them to help keep victims fed at the minimal levels to sustain life. So there's something that has happened, and the underlying word for all of it is impunity. because for a very long time now, and we as an organization have been warning about this growing trend at least since 2017. That's 9 years ago. And it was in 2020 that we actually coalesced a lot of the data that we had been tracking and first published a report called The Economics of Nigeria's Kidnapping Industry. 2020 was 6 years ago. And since then, we've done it every year. And the problem keeps growing. So because basically we are in a situation where these criminals are getting paid and they're able to sustain their value chain, their supply chain. So it's profitable for them. And because it's profitable for them, it simply continues. And in continuing, it metastasizes and it grows worse. And that's where we are now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chitan. Can we have Peter back? That's very gloomy answer that you have given, but this obviously reflects the reality on ground. Can we have Peter in the house? Now, Peter, good morning. Good to see you. Now, we have had children become, why have children become such attractive targets for kidnappers? And what still, how do we make sense of this disturbing irony that some of the actual kidnappers accused of terrorizing communities have gone live on social media to offer cash giveaways, and people have willingly sent in their account details? What does this say about our collective moral fiber and the society that we have become?
Thank you very much for having me. How are the mighty fallen? A country that cannot protect its children is a country that does not care about its future. In terms of leadership, in 2013 and 2014, the current president stated that on issues of security, the buck stops at the president's table, and that if Jonathan cannot, the then President Jonathan could not protect Nigerians, he should resign. Today, this is the legacy that President Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu is leaving for Nigeria's 3 years down the line of sorrow, tears, and blood. But to call Tinubu as a leader a failure will be an insult to failures. It will be a disservice to failures, because this is a kind of failure that other failures look up to and aspire to gain this kind of milestones. Remember that in 2025 June, Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu visited St. Lucia, a country in the Caribbean islands, and gave students scholarship in a foreign land. Meanwhile, in his home country, children are not even begging for scholarship. Nigerian children are only begging for an opportunity to wake up in the morning, dress up, go to school, and come back without ending up with terrorists in the forest. Today, as we are speaking, under the Tinubu administration, in 2024, Nigeria was the 6th most terrorized nation in the world. By 2025, we became the 5th most terrorized. Anti-root, in 2026, we are the 4th most terrorized nation in the world. But you know why our situation is peculiar? The government and the military of the 4th most terrorized nation in the world has a policy that is called Operation Safe Corridor. Under that policy, governments gets terrorists that have killed children, mothers, fathers, including military officers, organizes a ceremony for them, gives them a shoebi to wear, and say they have sworn to a holy book and they have now been repented. So the government commits taxpayer money to rehabilitate non-terrorists, while the victims of their mayhem and their anguish are still in internally displaced persons camp, and some with the terrorists in the bush. Nigeria has more than 18 million out of school children. Today, schools are still shutting down because we have made a multinational enterprise out of insecurity. And it will not end for as long as government seems to be complicit in what is going on. If Nigerians do not wake up and we continue to pander and talk about this situation without any tangible solution to ending this mayhem, my thoughts and prayers are with everybody, because as we speak today, a 2-year-old toddler, Christiana Akombi, is in the forest. And Guess what the leadership is doing? The president and the first lady are engaging in a campaign for the re-election of this government. It is a tragedy, but unfortunately, it will continue for as long as the people permit it. That is where we are. Children have become a soft target. They are taken, they pay ransom, and the cycle continues. Why? Because government has failed in its primary responsibility to protect life and property. A government.
Okay, but Peter, what do you want to say about the people who actually posted their account details to the kidnappers when they were giving monies away? What does that also say about our own moral fiber? Because people have actually posted their account details, and the bandits gave them monies. So what does that even say? What does that say about us as a people?
What are we supposed to do as a people when the government agencies that should be tracking criminals and terrorists are rather too busy going after critiques of government? Anti-roots, terrorists in Nigeria have accounts, they make calls, they have medical supplies, and somehow the intelligence. So when you build a system of criminality, when you nurture criminality, criminality will develop and it will fester. That is why terrorists can come live on TikTok. But there are certain conversations we may have even on this news channel. Your safety may not be guaranteed because maybe the people may see and think that you have become a threat to national security. How on earth are terrorists able to operate before the glaring eyes of the entire nation? And we have an intelligence unit in the military, we have a DSS, but somehow cannot track them. So are we going to leave the terrorists and then come after Nigerians who are engaging with them? What are the authorities doing with the information that they have? What are they doing with the persons that have been caught? We are rehabilitating them. They are repented. The people who may not have opportunities to repent are people like the teacher, Mr. Oyedokun, who has been beheaded on live television. Meanwhile, the people who beheaded him may come out tomorrow and just repent.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. Let's get back to Chisa. The kidnappers are demanding 1 billion. The Oyo State House of Assembly member just said that they reportedly demanded 1 billion and also insisted that their Sharia laws must be implemented into their system as a condition for the victims' release. So what has emboldened these groups to operate with such brazenness? And what does it really reveal about the changing nature of insecurity in this country?
So to answer the question about what has emboldened them, again, like I said in my first response, impunity, and like Peter mentioned in his response, basically when you have a situation where it is clear, or it has been clear for a very long time, that it was a rewarding venture. People will get kidnapped and someone somewhere would arrange a ransom. And then you talk about the whole repentant criminals thing. So essentially, it's the incentives. We have created a society where the incentives are perverse. Again, coming down back to your question on people sending their account details to kidnappers in order to get some of the loot. That's the classic thing there you are saying is the response to perverse incentives. Our society, very unfortunately, society where that rewards just having it. It doesn't matter how you got it. And until that changes, we need, it's a whole society thing, it's structural. We need an entire societal awakening about what is right and what is wrong. Until that happens, until we get to that point where how you got it does matter, we will keep saying things like this, not necessarily in the form of kidnapping. Kidnapping may end because of its extremely violent nature, but we will see it in other ways.
Okay, now that you said that, I know that I was listening to a podcast where a colleague of yours was saying that there are certain times that kidnappers choose to operate, and also certain numbers that they can kidnap at a certain time. So run that through by us. How do they operate? What are usually the best times, or when are they at their most dangerous for passengers?
So it used to be that it was in the nights, but now it's increasingly in the daytime, because it's become very clear to us based on the patterns that they clearly have help from the local communities. And they incentivize those local communities. Again, going back to the theme of perverse incentives, they incentivize them by paying money. And this goes to the heart of the unfortunate economic situation in which the average Nigerian finds himself. We're in a situation where you could give an entire village just 100,000 naira and you own them. They will do whatever you want. And in that respect, that village becomes your intelligence apparatus. So,
yeah, but some of them are they're kidnapped on the roads. They're not necessarily kidnapped in the villages.
Yes, but again, I talked about the supply chain logistics that the kidnappers need to keep the victims fed, to keep the victims in place.
Okay, so the village supplies them the food whilst they're in captivity.
Have to get the food from somewhere. We are yet to see one report of gangs of people carrying foodstuff across borders. So which means that the foodstuff is coming from somewhere relatively close. So, and food is just an example. So there's this movie that came out last year, The Herd, on Netflix. It was very well researched. And credit to them, they cited one of our reports. It was very well researched in terms of the way an entire community can actually help in these operations. So, and note one thing. It happened on the highway, in the daytime, in the movie. That's what increasingly happens. The 3 schools that were attacked in Oyo State simultaneously, and I think that's the key word, they were attacked simultaneously during the daytime. Children are not going to be in school at night. They are going to be in school in broad daylight, and these attacks happen simultaneously. I read the account of one of the people who escaped, and she said it was one person who came out first, then others came out. So it means that the kidnappers had advanced intelligence, and that's a key thing. One of the problems of the Nigerian security establishment over the last few years is there's intelligence. They know what is going to happen, but they fail to act on it. The Nigerian security apparatus has been operating in silos for too long. So one of the things that is going to be necessary to break this cycle would be breaking those silos, acting on information ahead of time, before we even get to the point of the incentives. Because we've been too reactive for a very long time. As opposed to
proactive.
Proactivity needs to come on the table.
Okay. Now, it's good that you mentioned that, because let me have Peter back in the house, please. Peter, you just listened to Chise's last response about the government need to be more proactive in situations like this rather than reactive, which brings me to my next question. There's a growing perception that when it comes to political dissent or activists, enforcement is swift and coordinated. But when it comes to kidnappers and violent, the response is slower and less effective. What does this say about state priorities? Because he just said that government needs to be more reactive. They are reactive when it comes to arresting activists. Why doesn't this extend to armed robbers and bandits?
It should tell you where the priorities of the state lie. If you can have repentant terrorists, how many repentant activists who made statements have you seen been rehabilitated and given money? Let me make it clear, that every government is more powerful than whatever criminals or criminal gang that operates around its territory. Whenever you see a government that seems to be helpless in the face of criminality, one thing is sure: such governments are complicit in the criminality. Once you are able as a government to detach yourself from the criminal network and you go forcefully against the criminals, you will not only crush them, you will protect your people. Nigeria is going around in a circle because we are yet to figure out the political wing of terrorism and insecurity. If we fail to end that political wing, the one in the bush will only continue to fester. I have stated it maybe even on this program, on this network. A governor who is an APC governor in Kebbi State came out in the open and made a statement. He said before there was an attack on the government girls secondary school in Maga in Kebbi State, we had intelligence. We deployed law enforcement, including military. They reported to the school. They took pictures with the students and the teachers and were there. Few hours before the attack, somebody gave an order for them to be withdrawn. They left and people came in and took children and killed the vice principal. The governor is asking the commander-in-chief, Who ordered troops out of that school? Till date, nobody has been able to answer. And then we go ahead and we say that the children were discovered. Ransom was paid. People have benefited. So when you continue to pamper terrorists, a country that is more concerned about taking care of repentant terrorists than protecting its own children. So under this administration, people who are supposed to be leaders of tomorrow are in the forest with terrorists, while the leaders themselves are feasting and preparing for the election. So you will continue to see these shenanigans because we have built a system that rewards criminality and corruption, where integrity and staying by the rule of law may become more problematic for you. People are in DSS detention today for making a tweet about government. Somebody was detained, Justice Clark, he's still in court today for saying military officers should be fed properly. So when our intelligence is only able to go against people who are voices of dissent against government, while government on the other hand, Anti-Root, a popular Islamic cleric, Mr. Sheikh Gumi, said on national TV, he said government knows where the terrorists are. They know their location. They know them by name. Has anybody invited Mr. Sheikh Gumi for questioning? What answers have been gotten? So what are we saying? Who is deceiving who? Until we end this circle and stop pretending to be asleep, we are all in trouble.
Thank you so much. Now, Chita, as discouraging as it sounds, do you understand, what are the three most realistic interventions Nigerians can implement within the next 12 months to reduce kidnappings in a measurable way?
So the quickest one is to change the paradigm. The intelligence needs to be acted upon. So, for example, that was how Colombia changed the paradigm. Colombia used to be a hotspot for kidnapping, and they realized that it's not a kinetic problem. It's an intelligence problem. If you have the intelligence ahead of time, you act on it. I would give an example that is not a kidnapping incident. Yelewata, very clear eventually that for a full month before the Yelewata massacre, that the DSS had the information.
Hi guys, I'm gonna probably stop this video. It's a very long one, and if you want to watch more, you can go see it on Arise. But I just saw something now about the kidnapper, the kidnapped victim, people that were kidnapped in Kwara State. About 5 of them have died in the kidnappers den. A video was just I think a video was just populated now by Rise News, and I just want us to see that video because this is also another pathetic story that 5 of the kidnappers in Kwara have died, and so it is so sad. Hopefully the politicians are not using Nigerians' blood for their evil acts. Hopefully they are not using the red oil of Nigerians for their evil acts. But let's see this video and then we will come back and talk some more.
Reverend Timothy Omole broke the news. Speaking with a Rise News correspondent in Ilori, the presiding minister at Ekwa Church, Reverend Timothy Omole, broke the news that his wife was among those who died in the custody of the bandits. The embattled pastor, who expressed gratitude to all Christian organizations that rallied round his family when ransom was being arranged, also narrated the ordeal of his family ever since the kidnap of his wife alongside other members of the church. His 14-year-old distraught first daughter, Oluwadarasimi Omole, fights back tears over the shocking news of her mother's gruesome death and the bleak future ahead without motherly care.
They started with a ransom of 1 billion, but after so much pleading, we agreed they allow us to bring 20 million, 5 bags of rice, 30 liters of petrol, 4 keg of 30 liters of petrol, 1 packet of Maggi, 1 jerrycan of red oil, and hard drug worth of 48,000 naira. Then on Saturday, we were called that the money they collected from us, that is too small, that the Oga said he cannot collect that money from us. So we should go and look for 300 million.
When we heard that she was kidnapped, we were scared that might she die. And then we had the way they used to demand for money. That where are we going to find it? We were scared that we never see our mom again. But fortunately, she's dead. And we didn't ever see her again. But by the special grace of God, we were able to stand strong.
As at the time of filing this report, Omongo community and the surrounding neighborhoods have become desolate. Traditional heads now live in major towns like Omaron, Ilori, and some as far as Ibadan or your state.
This is so sad and so pathetic. This is painful and so touching. Well, I don't know, but hopefully things can get better in Nigeria. But Nigerians are being killed by kidnappers, and the government is not doing anything. I don't know what's going to happen, but Nigerians just need to arise, and Nigerians need to arise and fight for their country. Nothing is happening. The government is not attending to matters, but we'll see. So painful, so painful, so painful.
BBC, Voters card.
Campaigners in Oyo State campaigning against Tinubu, going around the market and spreading the message. Who would have thought that this can happen in Tinubu's backyard, the Southwest? Every presidential candidate must at least win his geopolitical zone. It is called charity begins at home. If you can't win your geopolitical zone, you have no business being on the ballot in 2027. Does it mean he's not going to win it? Well, it still depends. If Nigerians go into 2027 with this type of anger, obviously he's not going to win. But Tinubu is not banking on winning through votes. It's very obvious if you look at his body language, not just Tinubu, all his associates and APC leaders, the way they talk to Nigerians, the way they talk during interviews on television, their arrogance is just out of this world, as if Nigerians are begging them to do the job. These are people that sought to be elected. They didn't win in 2023. They somehow got to power, and they are now lording themselves over Nigerians. So what Nigerians must do is, with this anger on election day, they must vote and protect that vote, follow the vote to everywhere. Even if they are taking that vote to heaven to go and count it, you must go to that heaven with them. Keep vigil until the results are announced. If you troop out in massive numbers, no one, no soldier, no police is going to stop you. Power belongs to the people. Right now, there are protests in the Southwest, in Lagos, in Oyo State, in Ondo State, even in Abuja. But if you look at the numbers, you see that Nigerians are still not ready. Yes, if Nigerians aren't coming out to protest the kidnap of these kids, it's getting to 3 weeks now, then what will actually push Nigerians to the limit? Maybe you can say it is that selfishness of Nigerians that is at play here, because their family members aren't the ones kidnapped. That's why people don't care. People are walking around, going about their business. It's as if they don't live in the Nigerian world. They are living in another world altogether. These people protesting, maybe they are looking at them as, don't these people have any job to do? Why are they on the road? Why are they blocking the traffic? But actually, these people are protesting for every Nigerian, not just the children that were kidnapped in Oyo State. If anyone feels that insecurity will not get to his doorstep, the only way that person can be saved is maybe the person is living abroad. But once you live in Nigeria, a very poor country, not that we are supposed to be poor, politicians rendered Nigerians poor, but once you live in Nigeria at the moment, you can never run away from happenings in Nigeria. Now, let's hear the warrior chief that took Remi Tinubu to the cleaners. It's not as if any Nigerian needed any proof that Remi Tinubu and others around Tinubu, including Tinubu himself, are arrogant, that they are tone deaf to the happenings in Nigeria. Imagine Remi Tinubu at this time that 40-something children, including teachers, were kidnapped in Ogbomosho. Everyone is talking about this in the Southwest. If you tune to the radio, they are talking about it, even on television. She can't possibly say that she hasn't heard about this. But instead of at least stopping her campaign, she's not on the ballot, by the way. It is her husband that will be on the ballot. But she had the audacity to host APC women and donated cars to them, telling them that they should register the cars in their names, that it is not a party property, that she is giving them the cars to themselves. Imagine doing this when your own people are shouting, crying that the government should do something to secure the release of their people.
So to all our women leaders, from the woman leader for Abia State, APC woman leader, APC woman leader for Anambra State, APC woman leader for Bauchi State, APC leader for Osun State, APC leader for Oyo State, your vehicles will be ready before the end of the week. So I urge all our governors, this is how we want our women to be treated. The vehicles are your personal vehicles. You are not giving it to the party.
So her top priority is to make sure her family stays in Aso Rock till 2031. She doesn't care if the people they are leading are all dead. Whatever they are going through, that's not her business. She just wants her family to continue enjoying the trappings of office. By the way, how is she able to afford the money to buy all these cars she's donating to APC women leaders? They haven't held any fundraising to fund her husband's 2027 presidential election campaign. So how is she able to afford this money? Nigerians must demand answers and question them. They can't possibly be spending this kind of money even before the presidential election campaigns start. So how is she doing this? Despite saying that God has already blessed her family. But you keep hearing all this, you keep seeing corruption everywhere. You wonder, when will enough be enough? Now, let's hear the warrior chief.
The first day, Tinubu is sitting in Abuja there. Instead of busy about taking care of husband in the kitchen, interfering in warrior affairs. Yeah, children are being kidnapped in Osun State. Children are kidnapped in northern Nigeria. As a mother, she has no feelings. Is that the woman who calls herself a mother? No. Is that what we call a mother? No. Is that what we call a mother? No. She take a responsibility by taking care of her husband and her children. She has no place in the office of the presidency. There's no constitutional provision for her. We are not missing words at this point. Our blood is not bleeding. We are tired of all this nonsense from the Nigerians. No matter who is it, we are prepared for it. Let the nation know that we are prepared. Thank you very much. God bless all of you.
The way she's been campaigning for Tinubu's re-election is not surprising that she might meddle in anybody's affair just to get that ambition actualized. But the greatest takeaway here is Remi Tinubu is from Delta State, and the way people are now against the family in Delta State. Also, you saw what is going on in the Southwest. With all this going on, they will want to manufacture figures in the election. They will try to prove to Nigerians that all of a sudden Nigerians started loving them again during the election. That was why they voted for them. That's the same template they used in the primary election. They claimed Tinubu scored more than 10 million votes. So Nigerians must resist. The way people are doing, it doesn't concern them. People are protesting. That was why one man held a one-man protest. As you can see here, he's asking Nigerians, why are they moving around? Why are they doing as if it doesn't concern them? They are going to work while children are in the bush, kidnapped by terrorists. So what Nigerians must do is to ensure that it is not all talk and no do. They have to walk the talk. They have to insist that the right thing must be done on election day. If you don't do that, all their arrogance will pay off. Yes, they treat you with contempt already. You can see it every day. They don't hear your cries. Look at how much they are selling gas today. Some are claiming it's up to 2,000 naira per kilogram.
You are supporting me and you love me and doing good thing. You will not support my candidate. The project I have in my hand today is how to deliver president. So I'm angry. Why will you be angry? If I cannot market Mr. President, people are the governor in this state. Sometimes they wait for allocation. We don't wait for allocation. We don't wait. I'm talking about reforms. If the reforms not working, I want to ask you people, is it not working? If it's not working, council, can they go and construct projects?
It's also laughable that the governor of Delta State in a recent interview told Deltans that it would be evil not to vote for Tinubu, that they should vote for him because he's their in-law. Can you imagine? Just because he's their in-law, it's no longer based on competence. It's no longer based on what he did in the past 3 years. Just vote for him because he's their in-law. Hey, Nigerians must never allow this type of mentality to continue into 2027. It's just like the Muslim ticket campaign in 2022-2023. They told people, just vote for him because he's your fellow Muslim. He belongs to the same religion like you. So vote for him based on that. Many people have seen that today, that you don't have to vote anyone because of his religion. Vote for him for what he can do to change your life, to turn around your fortunes. So for the 18th time, Nigerians must fight as if
I just think that really Nigerians, we need to probably come together and see what we can do with respect to this insecurity. Because as it stands now, the government is not doing anything. They rather want to bring up issues to distract Nigerians. And so Nigerians must arise to the task. Honestly, Tinubu should not be allowed to come back in the coming election. And this is a call to all Nigerians that everybody needs to go get their PVC, because that's the only means that we have now until there's another option. But as it sees today, the only way to go is the election. And so every Nigerian youth, everybody out there must get their PVC. I mean, we just saw earlier, 5 of the Kwara kidnap victims have died. 5 of the Kwara kidnap victim have died. One of the toddler that was kidnapped in Oyo State also died. I think it was yesterday. And it just bleeds my heart. Whenever you hear this story, it's just painful. Now, is it a crime to be a Nigerian citizen? I mean, some days ago, Donald J. Trump said in America that if you are an American citizen, he's going to buy you. That means that's a president that cares for his own people. But in our own country, we see people that all they care about now, all that Remi Tinubu is doing now, is how the husband will be the president in the next election. She doesn't care about the country. She doesn't care about the people. She doesn't even care about ever since those people were kidnapped, Remi Tinubu has not said anything with regards to those children in the forest. Remi Tinubu has not made any comment with regards to those kidnapped children. And it is just so sad, so painful that this is happening. And you see a woman that should be a mother supposedly doing this. is an heartless act that a woman can act like this. So painful, so sad. Nigerians, the only way to go is to come out and vote, and no other person you must vote for other than Mr. Peter Gregory Obi is the only viable option. Is the only viable option. And that's the only way to go. So Nigerians, everybody must do their best. Everybody must do their bit to make sure that you get your PVC, you do all that you can to stand up and vote. Vote, vote, vote. That's the only way to go. That is all we can do right now. That's all we can do now to ensure that people back home get their PVC. Everybody is out there to get their PVC and everybody is talking. Let's see this other video.
For a life from the bush. In Esinle and Yawata communities, families continue to wait for answers. Arise senior correspondent. Now, more than 3 weeks after gunmen abducted pupils and teachers from 3 schools in Oyo State's Orire local government area, the victims remain in captivity. One teacher has been killed and a vice principal is pleading for a life from the bush. In Esinle and Yawata communities, families continue to wait for answers. Arise senior correspondent Oba Adeoye visited the community and now reports.
That is the sound of a grandfather whose world went blank on May 15th. His beloved grandchild and friend is in a place where nobody knows. He is not alone. Parents and grandparents here have been inconsolable since that morning, waiting for their children to return home from school. The road to Esinle is not built for grief. It is built, if built is even the word, for the farming life that has sustained these communities for generations. Bumpy, red earth tracks through dense bush, no mobile signal, no internet, no connection to the world beyond these farms. To drive it today is to understand why help was slow in coming and why the men who took these children knew exactly where they were going. Inside the classrooms of LA Primary School in Esinle and the Baptist Nursery and Primary School in Yawata, time stopped on the morning of May 15th. School bags are still where the children dropped them in the kiosk. Exercise books lie open on the desk. A lesson interrupted. Small sandals remain near the doorway as though their owners stepped out and will be back any moment. They have not come back.
This is one of the classrooms where the abductors came to pick some of the pupils, and we were told that some of them came in through these windows, while some of the pupils that escaped also escaped through some of these windows. If you look around, you will still see their books left opened, their school bags left uncollected. You see one here, there's another school bag, another school bag here. And of course, these pupils left home that morning, hoping to return to their parents. But up until now, nobody can say for sure their whereabouts.
At approximately 9:30 in the morning, armed men on motorcycles stormed these 3 schools simultaneously, a coordinated military-style operation. The victims were mostly children aged between 2 and 16 years old. Among them a toddler, among them teachers who came to work with no thought that this day would be different from any other. Among them, a mathematics teacher named Michael Oyedokun. He did not survive.
Kalukusa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí họ káàkiri èmi gangan dé mo fẹ́ dé school nínú ara wọn tí wọ́n ní agbára díẹ̀ wọ́n wá ní bàbá ìyẹn padà mo ní ẹ jẹ́ mi náà yọjú sí school àmọ́ mo sá padà ńjọ́ náà àmọ́ wọ́n sá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ìbọn yẹ tíṣà gbé ọmọ kan lọ́wọ́ nínú primary ó fẹ́ jáde báyìí ni wọ́n yìnbọn lórí.
torí pé àwọn àtẹ̀mí náà lọ school ń bẹ̀ níjọ́ àmẹ́ta wọn lọ school and the incident tó ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn èmi ti wà nínú oko wọ́n wá pè mí náà ni pé àmọ́ mi àwọn ará wọn mọ́ o bọ̀ ńgbà tí mo dé tó kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ glory pé àmẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta wọ́n wálé ní àlàáfíà.
The parents we met have settled into a particular kind of pain, not the sharp, screaming pain of the first hours, but the long, hollow pain of waiting with no end in sight. A pregnant woman sat apart from the others when we arrived. We were told her first and only child was taken that morning. She will not speak to our camera. She said she has begged and begged the government, the security agencies, and nothing seems to be happening. She just sat there, lost somewhere between this world and wherever her child is. The Baale of Isiele, the community's traditional ruler, received us with his chiefs. He did not mince words. He described a community that has felt invisible to the Nigerian state for years. No road, no connectivity, no sustained security presence. Orire local government had witnessed increasing bandit activities since January, including an attack on the National Park Service office at Oloka village, where 5 forest guards were killed. The warning signs were there. Nobody came.
So, secondly, security ojina siwa, because nisin ijoti isu yan ṣẹlẹ̀ Ìkòyí ojina si bíbáyìí. So kó tó di pé a pè àwọn police station tó wà ní Ìkòyí kí DPO wọn kan tó dé, so close to 2 hours. So nǹkan ti bàjẹ́ kan tó dé bíbáyìí. So lórí ìyẹn à ń bẹ government kí wọ́n bá ní ṣe ètò ààbò tí ó ràn jẹjẹn lọ́dọ̀ wa ń bí.
The Baale told us the surrounding woodland, particularly the expanse of the old Oyo National Park, gave the attackers everything they needed: cover, escape routes, and time. The children and their teachers are believed to still be held inside the vast forest of that national park. The economic consequences are already visible. Commercial activities have slowed significantly. Food vendors have fled. Markets have become empty. Small businesses have collapsed. Families of the abducted who remain in the community say they now struggle to secure food and basic necessities. The defense headquarters has confirmed a Boko Haram faction carried out the attack. The abductors opened communication with the Oyo State government but refused to speak with the families, insisting they will only negotiate with Governor Seyi Makinde directly. Public school teachers in Oyo State have begun an indefinite strike, demanding the safe release of their colleagues and pupils. Private schools across the state are also shutting down in solidarity. In the classrooms that remain open, teachers and parents argue that learning cannot happen when students do not feel safe. But today, as the families of Esiele and Yawata sit in the dark, no electricity, no signal, no word, 49 people, most of them children, remain somewhere in the bush. One of them is 2 years old. One of them is the only child of a heartbroken, pregnant mother who will not even face our camera. There are no words adequate to this moment. Only the demand that the words spoken in Abuja translate into action in this forest.
Right now, all the schools across Oyo State have been shut down until further notice. But even when these schools reopen, there is no assurance that parents of children who attended schools like LA Primary School in Isiele will allow their children to return to school. Oba Adeoye, Arise News, Oyo State.
This is pathetic. This is so sad. So sad. What is going on? So painful. This is so painful. Hopefully, these families can get justice. Their children can be returned back home. Honestly, I don't know what to say. It's just so painful that we're seeing this happening in 21st century. And that's why I was talking about Oba Gandhi the other day. He used to live in America. And so he should have carried out international war and saying that, oh, if the military goes in there, the people are going to kill the children and all that. No. I mean, some days ago, one person held 10 Americans hostage in LA, Las Vegas. The FBI and the local police went into that building, the Chase Bank, rescued the people alive and killed the person that held them hostage. Nigerians, how much of this can we bear? How much of this can we take? I don't know what's going to happen, but one of the children that was kidnapped died. Nobody wished this for a country. Nobody's prayed this for their people and their family. Let's see this news from News Central.
One of them is how our ability to change the name of a problem and somehow convince ourselves that the problem itself has changed. Voila. A man steals public funds and we call it misappropriation. Government increases taxes and we call it reforms. A power outage lasts for 3 days and we call it technical fault. And now, armed men enter schools, carry away children, kill teachers, terrorize communities, shut down education, and leave entire states living in fear. And we call it kidnapping. Just kidnapping. As if this was a small misunderstanding between criminals and their victims and not something far bigger. See, the abductions in Oyo State have once again forced us to confront something many Nigerians already know, but rarely are saying out loud. This is no longer an isolated security issue. It's actually becoming a pattern. It's becoming a system. And what is most disturbing is not only that people are being kidnapped, it's how quickly we are adjusting to it. When it happens, we're shocked. Then we talk about it. We talk about ransom. We share shocking videos on Instagram. We complain about it on toxic Twitter. And then when another case happens somewhere else, we just simply move on. And the cycle is now very familiar. And that familiarity is the real warning sign. Oh, and by the way, there's a certain reason governments are careful with certain labels. For instance, the word terrorism, well, it's not just a description, it's an admission. It's an admission that armed groups are no longer just scattered little elements of criminalities, that they're shaping behavior, controlling movements, and influencing how citizens live. It's also an admission that the state is no longer in control of its constitutional obligation of safety to its people. And that kind of admission, well, that carries plenty of weight. It carries international weight. It carries economic weight. It carries political weight. It carries security weight. Especially 2027 already appearing on the horizon, because once a country officially accepts that a threat is terrorism, the entire framing changes. Investors, well, they interpret it very, very differently, not casually at all. They read risks. Foreign governments, well, they don't take it lightly. They update advisories. Security analysts, they revise assessments. Insurance costs shifts, travel warnings tighten, and suddenly the story is no longer just about isolated incidents in a few communities. It becomes a global narrative about instability in Africa's largest economy. Not in what we call it, but in what we allow it to become while we are busy debating what to actually call it. See, a country does not lose security in one moment. It loses it gradually, one village at a time, one road at a time, one school at a time, one incident at a time, until eventually the conversation is no longer about definitions. It becomes about timing. About timing because we ask whether we recognize the skill early enough to stop it from becoming permanent.
Honestly, I don't know how Nigeria get out of this. I don't know how this is resolved, but excuse me, there is a need for a drastic action to be taken against this insurgency, against this act of terrorism. It is not just enough to send delegates to your state. We don't need the delegates. We need solution. Tinubu must go is a failure. Tinubu has failed in all ramifications. As a matter of fact, I think one can probably conclude that life does not matter to this man. Nigerian life does not matter to this man. Because if the wife can go from Abuja to the southeast and then went to, I think, maybe Ekiti to go do campaign, election is next year. And you see people are being kidnapped and you see going around to campaign. You're going around to go share money for people. This is evil. And you're not even paying attention to the temperature of the country. And this person is a woman that carried children for 9 months. I think there's a need for the government to sit tight, because the country is beclouded with dark cloud. People are in pain and in agony, and just wondering what's the fate of a common Nigerian is, because these guys don't care. These guys do not care. Honestly, I don't know how we get out of this mess. I don't know how we resolve this whole situation. But in all honesty, Tinubu is a disaster. Tinubu is a failure and should not be allowed to smell power. Come.
Right now, let's take a deep dive into Nigeria's 2027 elections, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu seeks a second term. But his record on the economy and security will be tested against a crowded field of contenders. From Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar to Seyi Makinde and others, the opposition remains fragmented yet ambitious. And with insecurity still shaping daily life, the question is not only who will lead, but whether Nigeria's democracy can deliver stability. Well, joining the conversation right now is Agi Osogun, is a former member of the House of Representatives and a chieftain within the NDC. He joins virtually from Edo State. Thank you for your time. I also have Adekule Oladende, is a public affairs analyst and a chieftain within the All Progressives Congress. Gentlemen, thank you. All right, let me start with you, Mr. Ogun. Quickly, in 30 seconds, the very unfortunate incident we saw with the students and their teachers in Oyo State. Today makes day 22 with those students in captivity. Some will say this is not peculiar to this administration. We've seen it, in other administrations. But what haven't we gotten right within our security architecture? And what does this reflect of our country?
Thank you very much for having me. My heart bleeds for the parents. As a parent, I know what they must be going through. It's very unfortunate. But I also don't think this government are responsible to the people, because Section 14(2)(b) of the Constitution, 1999 as amended, states clearly, security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And they are all over the place campaigning. When people's children are in the bush with kidnappers, we don't know the state of their exposure. It's a shame and a disgrace. I don't think this government from day one ever had the interests of Nigerians at heart, besides just pursuing the second term agenda. And I don't know what Nigerians think about this, but in a civilized climate, this government will not win any election, since they have chosen to sacrifice the people for their own personal gains. So I am disappointed, and I hope Nigerians all Nigerians to stand up and speak against this government.
All right. How about you, Mr. Adekunle? I mean, you're a member of the All Progressives Congress. Your party is the ruling party, and this is happening. So many people are saying, look, this, in a way, reflects incompetence in terms of security for the current administration. You're a member of the APC. How do you react?
Yeah, thank you very much. I also feel for the parents of the students that was kidnapped. Notwithstanding, I am so sure, 100% sure that Mr. President is doing something. Like the Honorable said, that the present government does not have the interest of the citizenry at heart. That is not correct at all. If I talk about insecurity, it didn't start with this government. It started under PDP. I don't even know which party he represented when he was a former honorable of if he's from PDP, they started this insecurity we are in today because they should have tamed it as soon as it started. It doesn't start under APC. It doesn't start under and he's doing everything possible. This insecurity is and then you have security. It is not a day job.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. You said that the issue of insecurity isn't peculiar to the All Progressives Congress administration. But are you trying to shift blame here? Because part of the campaign promise of the contenders then was that they will tackle insecurity.
It is not about shifting blame here. It's about being sincere with ourselves. And then let me also say this. Do you think Mr. President will be happy with what is going on? Mr. President is not happy with what is going on. But don't forget that every election cycle, you see that the insecurity will increase. Every election cycle. Because to me, before 2022, by 2022, before the election of 2023, we experienced the same thing. I can tell you for free, this is political.
So you're saying all of this right now is political because elections is around the corner.
Some of them, and let me say, even most of them are political. And even at that, Mr. President is doing everything humanly possible to ensure that this insecurity is they fight it to stand still. And it can't end one day.
All right.
I am a father. Do you think I will be happy for those people that have been kidnapped for 22 days now? Nobody is happy. Even Mr. President is also a father. He wouldn't want his own children to be kidnapped. Nobody is happy. So we should all fight this insecurity together.
All right. Thank you very much. I would like to bring in, of course, Mr. Sagios Ogun to respond to some of the things that have been said, but also speak on the fact that, look, previous administrations, have had this problem. Just like he said the insecurity didn't start with the APC, it started with the People's Democratic Party many years ago. I mean, you're a member of the opposition, for instance. How do you respond to this?
My biggest challenge with the APC, and indeed most Nigerians, especially the elite, is the selective amnesia. Yeah, my brother in the studio has said that the problem started with PDP. Okay. And he has said that there is usually an election cycle. Okay. Did you say this in 2014 with the Chibok girls? Did you say this, that the kidnap of the Chibok girls was because of the election cycle? You made a heavy weather of it then with the bring back our girls and all manners. People went to America, got Obama's wife, everybody bring back our girls. Funny enough, yes, initially they started in places like Abuja and all, and then President Jonathan was able to contain them in the Northeast. And I dare say, because I hear most APC people saying that before the elections that brought in Buhari, that the militants were occupying or the terrorists were occupying, depends on the side of the bed that they woke up from that day. Some you will hear 24 local governments, some will say 15 local governments, some will say 19 local governments. I put this to you, that there was an election in every part of Nigeria in 2015. So if APC is claiming that the militants or the terrorists were occupying 24 local governments or even 2 local governments, who won the elections in those local governments that the terrorists were occupying? There is something they are not telling us.
unless they are telling us that the terrorists are the militant arm of the APC. So the record I have is no local government was occupied during the 2015 election. But if they can say today that some local governments were occupied by the terrorists, how come there were elections in those local governments? And APC won all those local governments in Borno, in Yobe, and in Adamawa. Let them tell us the truth. So this idea of started under government is continuum. You cannot finish everything in one day. But like I said before, it was contained in the Northeast when Jonathan was there. Matter of fact, when they extended the election, it was for them to bring in more platform to chase the militants away. And they did. I remember when Buhari took over, there was a bomb blast in Borno. There was a naval captain that said that it was a handshake. He was in the studio, one of your sister stations. He said that was a handshake from the militants. They are just letting Buhari know that they still exist. So what today, rather than tackle the problem, this same APC that made so much noise about it in 2014-15 are suddenly saying it's because of election and the president is trying. He's not trying. I repeat, section 14(2)(b) says the primary security and welfare, meaning well-being of the people, is the primary purpose of government. Any government that fails to give the people security should be sacked, like yesterday.
I think I should pick it up from there and ask you, do you think that Mr. President at this point should go? And I'm putting it to you, Mr. Oladende.
Like yesterday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My colleague from Edo State is saying that in 2014, no local government that was occupied by Boko Haram then. What we are facing then is Boko Haram in 2014, and we have at least 14 local governments under Boko Haram. Where they established their flag. In 2014, why are we deceiving ourselves? We don't need to deceive ourselves. Thank God, he keep mentioning that the primary responsibility of a government from the Constitution is to take care of the security and welfare and welfare of citizenry. Yes, that is very correct. Does that not happen under PDP? Let me also say this. Under PDP, everywhere in Nigeria is not safe. Abuja bomb going off every now and then. Kaduna bomb going off every now and then. Kano, every part of Northeast, Northwest, bombs are going off every now and then. And they said that you even said that government is a continual responsibility. Yes, Ashwaju is doing his own, and he will do his own and try his best and to ensure that we defeated this insurgency. What we are facing now is beyond what we do have. In 2014, we are talking about HISWAP now. We are talking about ISIS. We are talking about Boko Haram. We are talking about bandits and terrorists. These are people. These are people that are fomenting insecurity in Nigeria, and then it can't be done in a day. I have said it, unless my colleague over there will not willing to say the truth. That there is no Boko Haram. Boko Haram is not occupying any local government.
All right.
In 2014,
all right.
Well, 2015.
All right. Before we go on break, Mr. Sagios, would you like to respond about 30 seconds so that we can switch to the economy when we return?
See, that's why I am laughing, because these same people, APC campaign, said so many things about Jonathan, that he was clueless and all that in 2014 into 2015, that they would tackle the insecurity head on. And now he's there enumerating, listing the number of terrorists that are now in Nigeria. And like I said earlier, they were contained by the Jonathan administration. They were confined to the Northeast. Today, they are everywhere in the country. So what does that tell you? It's the failure of government. Thank you for confirming that. This government has failed. And what should you do? Send them packing, period. You shouldn't even be discussing this.
Oh, wow. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, I'm going to have to give Mr. Olade the opportunity to respond. Maybe I'll mash it up with of course, questions around the economy. Stay with us. We'll be right back. still have my guest with me on the program, Sagios Ogun, a former member of the House of Representatives and a chieftain of the NDC. I also have Adekunle Oladende, a public affairs analyst and chieftain of the APC. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. All right, quickly, let's switch the conversation right now to the economy under the, of course, current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. One thing this administration boasts about is the removal of fuel subsidy and the unification of the Naira, that's the local currency, which some have described as the Big Bang reforms. And I'm coming to you right now, Mr. Oladende. Would you say that the objectives or the aim of this particular move by your administration, the APC, has achieved its goal in ensuring that the lives of Nigerians are better?
Thank you very much. Before you can compare where we are, we need to know where we used to be. In 2023, before the advent of Bola Ahmed Tinubu government, we look at our foreign reserve, we are having about 32.8 billion or thereabout. But today, from 50 billion, we are now on $48 billion. You looked at how powerful, how vibrant our stock exchange is. Today, they have crossed over 160 trillion. Before now, inflation was about 34%, but today it's less than 50. It's less than 50. It's less than 15%. In 2023, the GDP growth is between 2.3 to 2.7. But today we have had 12 consecutive growth in the last 12 cycles.
Putting all of this with our current debt profile, which of course is running into trillions of naira, over 150 trillion naira, if of course I'm not mistaken, largely, right? How does this explain growth?
It explains growth in this format. Before now, in 2030, we are using about 97% of our revenue to service debt. But today, it's less than, it's a little, I think it's about 60-something% or 59%. Now you are talking about debt. Those debt we are talking about, is it attached to a particular project or not? The recent debt that was approved by the National Assembly was attached to Sokoto Badagry Express. Every every money borrowed from this government are attached to a particular project, which are ongoing.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Sagios, I'd like to give you the floor because we just have a few minutes. What do you have to say about the economy under president?
This APC man is confused, honestly. Saying that every project, every money borrowed is attached to a project. Tinubu is running 3 concurrent appropriation bill, 04, 05, 06. You cannot defend Tinubu and not look stupid. Let's listen some more.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Midst of the economy, an average home cannot think about 2 square meals a day. When you talk about fuel removal, subsidy removal, Jonathan did that in 2012. Who brought people to the streets that almost led to a military coup? It was the same president today, Tinubu. If he was so good in 2023, why was he not good in 2012? They say he had courage. What courage? He's talking about inflation. When the APC took over in 2015, inflation was single digits. So I don't understand when APC talk, when they talk like this and make comparison. What was our GDP? We're the largest economy in Africa. We are today 4th. So, I mean, there's no basis for comparison. This government is inefficient. They did not come to serve Nigerians. They came to serve themselves. So from day one, when they were sworn in from that Eagle Square in 2023, May 29th, their focus was on how to get a second term to perpetuate themselves in power. There is nothing good about APC and this present day government. Nothing at all.
All right, to wrap it up.
I don't see it. I don't feel it.
All right, I would like you to respond, Mr. Adekule. I mean, they said that according to when the APC came into power, they came largely to save themselves, and there's really nothing to talk about in terms of achievement. In 30 seconds, how do you respond?
Yeah, I will not expect anything less from the opposition, NDC. I'm just so surprised that NDC can come here and be gaslighting. Because to me, NDC, I have not seen them as an opposition. Yes, gaslighting. Yes, I'm coming. Because every rating agency, international rating agency, are rating this government high in every area of economy. The World Bank, the Fitch, the IMF.
But the conversation is around these ratings are coming in, but it's not being felt at the micro level.
How do you define?
At the micro level.
No, I think you need to explain
how does that balance it up?
It's balancing it up because you cannot expect anything less from an opposition party.
This is reality. Let's leave opposition party as reality.
The reality is what they are making us about are not what is happening.
So you are saying Nigerians are not hungry?
Really?
Yes, we are already hungry in Nigeria. I am almost 60, and since 1960 I was born, in the since I was born, we have been hearing people are hungry and hungry and hungry. People will always say something. So to me, what the government is doing, no government in the history of Nigeria has ever had the boldness, the audacity to do it. Ashwaju is a blessing to this country. But I'm not expecting. Now, I want to ask my colleague over there, can you tell me who can do better? What can they do new? What the new thing are you bringing to the table?
Let's give it.
What new thing?
Mr.
Will you bring to the table? NDC, who cannot conduct their own primary,
Please hold on.
Internal primary.
Mr. Adekunle, please hold on. Mr. Ogun, in 30 seconds. He asked a direct question. What are you bringing to the table?
We will take care of insecurity under 6 months.
Under 6 months?
Guaranteed. Under 6 months. Because this government doesn't have the courage to take any decision. They have not taken any. Let me just revisit what he said. When the PDP took over in 1999, the foreign reserve was 4.99 billion. 4.99 billion, not 40. And the price of crude oil was $10 per barrel in 1999. So there's no data for this present government to support any growth in this economy. And that is why they must go. So he's talking about people have always talked about being hungry. Can you compare 10 years ago, 15 years ago with today? Unless you're not living in Nigeria.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. I'm sure we'll definitely revisit this conversation again. We're in the election season. I'd like to say big thank you for your time. Sergeant Ogun is a former member of the House of Representatives and chieftain within the NDC. And also, of course, Mr.
On the screen is the record of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In 3 years, you can see poverty rates keep. You see it. All the arrows just keep going down. It was 460 per dollar. Now it's 1,500 per dollar. It was 185 per liter. Now it is almost 2,000 naira per liter. Public total debt was 87 trillion. Now Tinubu almost. Now you can see terrorists, over 10,000 people died. And then you can see kidnap over 7,500, and the number is still counting. Tinubu is a disaster. It should never be allowed to happen to Nigeria. I think Nigeria, we should just ask Mahmoud Yakub, who gave him the audacity to actually coronate this man as a president. Because what happened in the last election was a coronation. Tinubu failed gallantly. And so for me, Nigerians, there is no way you can allow this man to come back. Tinubu is a failure. The only way to go, let me show you the only way to go. Hear this video from Pa Ayo Adebanjo.
Rightly, you are fighting for your freedom. It's not another election you're having. If Obi does not win, forget Nigeria.
At least that man died in his old age. He died, I think, almost 90 plus. That is one of the voices, one of the great voice that Nigeria had. Minpa Adebanjo went everywhere with his walking stick, campaigning with Mr. Peter Gregory Obi. Tinubu is a disaster. Tinubu should have never been allowed to happen to Nigeria. No job, no light, poverty everywhere. I mean, you can see the exchange rate. They took it at 460. Now it is 1,500 plus. Tinubu is a failure. This man is, honestly, for me, what we can do as Nigerians is everybody must unite to chase away these people from power. One of the kidnapped toddler died yesterday. One of the kidnapped toddler died yesterday. 5 of the Kwara kidnapped victims died just some few hours ago. And the numbers keep counting. And Nigerians, don't forget that what we are seeing today as terrorism, banditry, and everything in Nigeria was created by the APC government. The former governor of Ekiti State, Fayemi, said that the insurgents under Jonathan was created by them. Yes, is on tape. The Kayode Fayemi said that they created that insurgency against Jonathan just to take him away from power. And now what they created, and I think somebody said on the platform, Mr. Jonathan said on Naija Watch Media, that APC came into government through insecurity. They had to sustain themselves in power through insecurity. And so Nigerians, the only way to go is for us to arise and take back our country. These guys don't mean well for Nigerians. The only viable option that we have now is to make sure that we all come together and support Mr. Peter Gregory Obi to be the next president of the country. And so until we come your way again, please don't stop talking, don't stop advocating for a good government, because if we keep quiet, the country will be destroyed. If we keep quiet, our lives will be ruined. And so Nigerians, arise, fight, and take back your country. It belongs to you, and we cannot allow these criminals to ruin the country or destroy our common patrimony. Let's keep talking. Let's keep advocating for a good government. All over the world, people are helping their own people, helping their own country. Nigeria cannot be an exception. Let's see this last video, and then we're going to call it a day. Just for a moment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, MEPs. Well, I don't know. First, let me most sincerely show my gratitude and thank you for opportunity of being part of your section. It was a very good listening how discussions go on. The first question people wonder is, why am I here? I'm just here to be able to start a conversation because I found out that the European Union, or most countries of Europe and the Western world, actually have little knowledge about Nigeria and Africa in general. And because of it, in their decision, in their thinking, they rarely bring Africa into perspective. I said to them, it is time to rethink. Africa today is the last frontier of global development. It's the second biggest continent in terms of size in the world. The second biggest It's a continent that has the highest amount of natural resources. It's a continent that has vast uncultivated land, a continent with young population. 60% of African population today is young. But then it's a continent of mass poverty. Today, Europe, if I take Nigeria, for example, Nigeria, in terms of population, is 50% of European Union population. You are about 450 million. We are over 240 million. So we over have 50% of your population. In terms of the land size, Nigeria, Europe is about 4-point-something million square kilometers. Nigeria is about a quarter of that. Just Nigeria. But when you come to in terms of wealth, while Europe have a per capita of over $40,000, Nigeria, which is over 50% of your population, our per capita is below about 2.5% of that of Europe. So you could see the potential with all the resources, the potential for growth. The nearest continent to Africa, to Nigeria, is Europe. So if Africa today turns around, the biggest beneficiary will be Europe. If it collapses, the consequence will affect you more. And I believe that we have so many commonalities that we can work together and everything. And what is the problem of Africa? The problem of Africa remains leadership. To have a political leadership that is competent, that have the capacity, compassion, commitment, and character to be able to deal with issues of corruption, law and order, focus on investing in critical areas of development, which is health, education, and pulling people out of poverty. It was discussed here that we have issue of killings, which again, people can say is genocide, people can say is Muslims versus Christians and everything. Are they killings? Are they criminality? Are they kidnapping? Yes. But we have to look at the issues that are driving this. When you have a huge population, for example, Nigeria have over 100 million people living in multidimensional poverty. You have millions of out-of-school children, or those who didn't go to school at all. With mass poverty and mass uneducated people, you have room for easy recruitment for all forms of criminality, which is what is now driving us of killings that we need to deal with. And now we're moving around, I'm moving around and saying, we need support. We need you to help us to overcome this and be able to create a clear developing environment that will also benefit you, because it's a huge market for you. It's a huge advantage in terms of resources and everything. If Africa, especially Nigeria, is doing well, it's the most populous country in Africa. It's about 1/6 of African population is Nigeria. And it has all it takes to be a huge market that Europe, just like Africa, can tap. And to turn around Africa, you must turn around Nigeria. Because it's a country that will drive the rest of Africa. To develop Africa, which will benefit you, you must start from Nigeria. So that's where I came to continue to start the conversation with you. Is not something, of course, I can take on tonight. It's something that I know that it requires several visits to be able to intimate you more on this commitment on this trajectory that I want you to go down with us and be able to help us to turn around Africa, Nigeria in particular. So thank you for the opportunity of having a few minutes conversation.
Let's get a warm Charlotte welcome to the one and only, the man we're here to see, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi.
Please be seated. Let me very respectfully stand on every and all due existing protocols. Mine is going to be more of an interactive section because I want to learn. I want to listen to you. I want to listen to your questions, be able to answer them, and be able to take notes. As you've listened to Professor Tommy, who I've told you about what we're doing, we're not trying to run the usual politics where somebody is campaigning to be president or to be governor, to be anything. We're trying to bring a change in a collapsed system. And when we bring a change, bring a true change, a change that is committed where all of you and everybody is involved. We want to take back our country. We believe that today our country is not governed or served by people who believe in the country. Everywhere I go and see huge number of Nigerians, the question is, who is remaining in Nigeria? Those who are remaining are probably those who couldn't get out. And as I go about, I ask myself a question. And I look around and ask myself, what makes this place better than Nigeria? Free market. We have free market, actually. We have very strong free market policies. We have better weather. We have better environment. Incoming. We have better food. Everything, we're family, we're better people. I can tell you. You can be hungry in Nigeria and your neighbor can give you food. If you're hungry in America, nobody's going to give you food. So we have everything. So what is wrong? How did we get to a stage where today nobody wants to go back there? How did we get to a stage where we have millions of people in a country that is so blessed with everything hungry? How do we get to where the place has become one of the worst places when you talk about terrorism, kidnapping, all forms of criminality? How did we get where, if you refer people who are unemployed in the world, we're there? What happened? This is a country. In the 80s, most of you went to school in Nigeria, and I'm proud to say you're Nigerian. In the 80s, you cannot compare Nigeria with China, with Korea, with all these countries. We had 3 times the reserve of China. Today, I have 3 trillion. These are countries that we cannot compare us with. People used to come from Saudi and everything to patronize our teaching hospitals and everything. So how did we get here? Indians were all over the place, in Nigeria, teachers, Philippines and everything. Today, we are going to India. We want to just escape to anywhere, no matter where it is. How did we get here? All you are seeing in Nigeria today is cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. The only thing that Nigeria lacked is leadership. And that is the leadership that brought us where we now have the highest number of people living in poverty in the surface of the earth. Where we now have the highest unemployment. Where we now live in fear of insecurity. And we don't know where. And some of you who are lucky to be here, as I said, are faced with double tragedy. I will explain it to you. So what are we trying to do? Is what part I've explained to you. Ours is that we can take this place back. We can fix it. It looks difficult. Countries have gone through this. It's mentioned to you about what happened in India. It happened in Brazil or South America. We're in a total mess a few years ago. All they needed was have people who are prepared to sacrifice and say, we can change here. We can fix it. And it can happen. We have the people, we're assembling it as a team. We don't want somebody to go in and say, oh, I'm Mr. Obi, I'm president. It's time for everybody to remove all those. When the MC was announcing, he was trying to call everybody honorable. MC, we're trying to remove all those titles. We want to remove the fact. We don't want to call people excellence again in Nigeria, because there's nothing excellent there again. We don't want people to be distinguished. When I came in here, like I said to every other place I've been, I saw people, but I noticed that it maybe it wasn't you people, because I'm not happy. And I thank people of Saya that we're doing this in a church. That's actually where we should be now. So wherever I go, they've been trying to celebrate or sing, and I said, no more celebration in Nigeria. It is time for us to get to work and fix the country. The potentialities are there. It's going to be difficult. Extremely difficult. Let nobody kid you. The next government is not going to be easy. It is going to be difficult. Very, very difficult, because your country is bankrupt. It doesn't have resources again. Somebody asked me this morning, that everybody's been asking, Peter, how do you think this will work? How do you have a situation where Just to give you an example, the first 4 months of this year, January to April 30th, our revenue is 1,063 billion naira. But our expenditure within the same period was 4,720 billion. So if you minus the deficit is 3.1 trillion. So how does a business that spends 3 times its revenue survive? How are you going to do it? That's what everybody's been asking. Peter, do you think this can survive? My answer is very difficult, but the business can survive. Again, the question is, how is this business going to survive? And I told somebody earlier this morning, I said to him, the business will survive. Businesses have come back from bankruptcy, even in America. What it needs is that it needs competent managers who have the capacity and vision to run it. And I can understand that it will no longer run the way it's been running. Managers that can understand that this is time to shut down the cost. Managers that understand that you can no longer continue the consumptive way the country is going. The country must go into production. People who understand that you can no longer borrow money for consumption. You borrow money for investment. That is the only way you can come back alive. And that's what we need. But to do that requires a lot. Prof, I've told you about foreign investor. That is my main topic with you who are here. Why am I going around talking to you, pleading with you? One is that you are the main and number one and most important foreign investor the country requires. Nobody, no foreigner can come and invest in Nigeria unless you come and invest. And you are investing to save yourself. Because what are you doing today? Your case is a double whammy. You've run away because you think things are bad. That's why you are here. You didn't come here because you want to be here. At least 70% of you. That's true. You came because you ran away. But what is even worse for you? You ran away and you are not in a problem. Because here you are working very hard and you can't live in peace because the people you left behind, you have to take care of them. So you have a crisis. Because if you are left on your own, it would have been better. But now, for every 10 calls you receive, it's 10 problems, if not 11. And you can't say no. Because even if you hate them, you will not sleep. Remembering that they are there. They're hungry. You become everything. You are the funeral director. If anybody dies, you have to come and bury the person. You're a doctor, you're a nurse, because everybody that is sick is looking for you. So they turn you into everything. At that stage, you don't even have peace. So your problem is more. So you have a duty. If you fix there and it's working, then you reduce your own pressure. So you owe a duty to fix there. If you fix there and make that place productive, what do? You become richer.
Yep, that's true.
Today, Paris told you, I know that for sure. I lived in the UK for 10 years. My neighbor, I live in my father, I live in number 66. My neighbor was in 64. Because things started working well in his country, in India, he went there and built a factory. The factory employed people from his area. They were producing, they were being paid salary, and he was exporting the goods to the UK and making more money. All these tech companies you see in India, those who started them started from here. So in their own case, they were investing, they're making money, they became richer. In your own case, you're throwing money because you're not a welfare officer who is throwing his money there and you're not getting anything. So you're becoming poorer and the other people are not doing anything because they're not producing anything. So you're going to live your life and die doing welfare. No. If you have the place to work and it becomes productive, you are the first people who are going to come without your resources. That's what my neighbor did. He borrowed money from UK, mortgaged his house, took the money and built a factory. But you know today, everything you take back there is gone. No return. Nothing. Have you ever taken anything back and saw any return? No. More complaint will come. In fact, before that one reach, they sent the new batch of one you need to attend to. You can't even go back because of insecurity. Now people buried by Zoom. I've gone to burial recently. The children are talking to us in Zoom. It's only people like me that were there. So you see the crisis you face. So you must fix there. Because the problem of there is just leadership. Simple. Nothing else. Not anybody tell you, oh, there's a problem with that. There's no problem with Nigeria. Problem with Nigeria is that you hired incompetent people who don't have any capacity to do anything. So all they do is tell you in schools, tell you a story. That's not securing a place. It's either you have a state or you don't have a state. You can't have non-state actors be more powerful than state. It's not possible. You can't have a state where they now tell you that people are stealing Nigerian oil. Oil is not something you put in your pocket. It's not a grocery thing. For you to steal oil, it has to be through ship. The ship have to come into your waters. Navy have to approve for ship to come into your waters because you have a navy. So it is being stolen by the same people. That's what Pat was trying to tell you. Those structures they tell you people we don't have is structure of criminality. It is that structure that I want to remove. Because that structure is structure that made it. So it's simple. There's no reason anybody. So anybody who tell you insecurity is this, yes, Everybody knows that the more you pull people out of poverty, the more you reduce criminality. The more you equip your police and everything. I said, everybody knows that. It is important. Structure that makes it impossible that you can't invest in human capital development. Everybody knows that the more you invest in education of your people, the more money you make. Nigeria have enough population. Somebody got up here and said, oh, we now get from diaspora remittances about 20 billion or 30 billion or 20 something billion. No, I want it to be 50 billion. We will do like other countries where we educate our people and have a ministry that ensure how they even leave the country in an organized manner. And they remit money because we have the population. We have everything. We have a country with vast land, vast cultivated land, and people are begging for food. It does not happen anywhere in the world, only in Nigeria. We have millions of people that are not contributing anything except disturbing you. People are stealing our commonwealth without conscience. And like I saw some of you are equally supporting them. No, it's true. I was governor. I used to visit here in America. And when I come, they say, this man has bought a house here. This governor, the other one has bought a house here. This one has bought a house here. You can buy your own here. You can do this. And I ask them, why would people own a house in America? Do I live in America? What type of madness is that? And all of you know that at the time you're advising this man, he never owned a house like I'm here now. I don't own anything in America. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And you know that when this man was going around preaching and telling you, he did not own a house. And suddenly when he now becomes president, he comes and buys it. And you people, some of you will even say he's doing housewarming. Some of you will even come and pray for him. When you know the exact thing to do, that they have to call police and telling this man has stolen our money. Because you know where the money came from. It was your money. The man didn't own it at the time he was telling you. Now he start telling you, I used to have money. So why didn't you buy it before? Why now? These are things we must. Let nobody tell you fighting corruption is not a problem. We cannot collectively. So when I say the leaders are incompetent, I also question the insane complacency of the followers. Because they just stay and allow people to celebrate. I've asked people and tell them my experience of traveling to America, going to this and everything, that I asked the people in the plane when I was traveling, I said, I had 2 Nigerians with me, and I asked them one question: why are we in this plane? Why did we follow this pilot? Did you people know where he came from? Everybody answered me, no. So why did we enter the plane? Thank you. Because we believe he's qualified to fly the plane. That was the reason why none of us knew the pilot. And I gave him another example that I once wanted to go and study in East Africa how education works. And because I was every other airline was exorbitant, I decided to find one that is cheaper. And I saw a Rwanda. And then I bought the ticket of Air Rwanda. I've never flown them before. And then when I go home, my wife said to me, Peter, have you flown Air Rwanda before? I said, no. He said, Peter, I can't understand you. You just go and buy a ticket of the people, airline you don't know about, you don't know where they're coming from. I say, I'm sure the people there are pilot. They can't put plane on the air if they're not pilot because they don't want to die. So I'll follow them. Whatever happens, they will all die, including the pilot. But what happened? I said to them, when I arrived at the airport, everyone had a brand new Airbus aircraft. And I was saying to myself, fantastic. And I got in there, only about 3 of us in the business class. And then when the plane took off, somebody came out of there and said, I'm the captain, my governor, good afternoon. And I said, so who are you? He said, there's 2 of us here. The pilot and the co-pilot were Nigerians. Well, because they have no one Nigeria doesn't have the one they can fly. They started flying the other one. If they were Nigerians, they would have said whether they came from north or east or west or central before they put them in the cockpit. That's why the other one failed. They didn't. And I can't go on and on. My dear people, you have a duty. You can reduce your cost. And the way to reduce your cost is to be involved in this change that we're doing. Everybody. That's what I'm doing. That's what Professor Tom is doing. I tell him every day, you're going around, a professor of political economy. This will be your last teaching if this one fails. Because nobody will ever listen to you again. So that's why we're getting people, more and more people, and say, let's come together and fix this place. Let's come together and fix it. It is difficult, it's doable. All we are saying is that it's not going to change overnight. But we want people that can come and say, we are moving from point A to B. When they get to B, they stop. Somebody comes and moves from B to C. We're not asking too much. And this is doable everywhere. In 20 years, Nigeria can generate more than 4,000 megawatts of electricity. Tell me what is that in generating power? We used to have pipe-borne water even in the streets. We used to have electricity. They used to take like 2 hours and people were shouting, 2 hours, 3 hours. Now it's become days. You are the one saying, and you're still sending money. That is why you spend less of that money, let's change them. Otherwise, it will be forever. Now it's become weeks for nothing. What is that? Nigeria is a country of 200 million people. The biggest country in Africa. The most important country in Africa. With people like you, everywhere you go on the surface of the earth, you see Nigeria playing the role of being an expert, the role of being one of the best. The only place that is not working is in Nigeria. So the biggest country with 200 million people, generating 4,000 megawatts of electricity, generating and distributing, and every day all you hear, power grid fail, this one fail. In every other country, you just go in and put your switch. You don't even know which is power company. Don't know. Nigeria is one story of the other. South Africa, in terms of economy, 60 million people, they are generating and transmitting and distributing about 50,000 megawatts. And we are doing 4. South African government had declared emergency in power. You can go and Google it. They declared emergency because they said the power is not enough, it's affecting production, it's affecting this. So they've not said anybody can generate power up to 100 megawatts without license. So somebody who is generating about 50,000 have declared emergency. And somebody who is generating 4 have not even declared anything. When he should have done, what he would have done now is not to declare emergency, but I don't know what he would have declared. Maybe only God knows what he would have declared. But he has not declared anything. It's too normal.
Well, guys, thank you very much. We'll bring this to an end. Hope to see you in the next live broadcast. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the efforts. Hopefully, we can do this again. And remember, Nigeria must be saved. Nigeria must be healed. We cannot continue this way. Tinubu is a failure and he has to go. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye for now.